he's going viral right now on YouTube or Twitter. Was he talking about trans kids or something? What was that about? I don't know. Being the biggest political streamer is so fucking wild. Isn't it just weird how in 2025 Asmon is like the big right? I don't know if he counts as right though, because like when you think of Asmon, it's like he doesn't really have an agenda, I think. He's just very, this is my opinion. It doesn't matter where or who it lies with. I just feel this way. I don't think he's a grifter, actually. I don't think Asmon's a grifter at all. I think Asmon, you are actually getting his rawest form every single day. He literally doesn't care. And that's what people like about him. And that's why I liked him, because you know for a fact that if you put something in front of him and say, what do you think of that? He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks of it. And he's so out of pocket that he couldn't be a grifter, like. He couldn't be. He's too outspoken, and he has literally no sponsors anymore. He has none. Zero.
You can be groomed for sure. No, and that's a good point, right? Is that like, that's why I said as an adult, is because like if you're a kid and like you get fed a lot of propaganda and like messaging, like.
Wait, let me see. AsmonGold was feeling extra spicy today when talking about the parents of trans children. Quote, every trans kid is actually a victim of a parent with a mental illness. If you have a kid that's like pre-puberty and they're trans, your parents have a mental illness.
You can be groomed for sure. No, and that's a good point, right? Is that like, that's why I said as an adult, is because like if you're a kid and like you get fed a lot of propaganda and like messaging, like I feel like every trans kid is actually a victim of a parent with a mental illness. Yeah. That's what I believe. And so like I really, and this you got a kid that's like 17, right? I mean, it's a little bit more, you know, it's like not really as definitive. But like if you have a kid that's like pre-puberty and they're trans, your parents have a mental illness. And this is something that a lot of people need to hear. It is. It's something a lot of people need to hear. In school, yeah, no, you're right. And it could also be a school. And it's not always the parents. Sometimes it's a school too. But there's an adult with a mental illness in your life. That's a great point. And so anyway, a lot of people were posting this trying to act like, oh, wow, like, you know, we're going to try to get him in trouble for this. Like, I'm sorry, but this is like a 90-10 issue. This is like beyond even 80-20. Like, everybody thinks this. The only reason that nobody's saying it is because people are afraid of saying it. The fact is that, like, I don't really give a because, like, I mean, like, I've already, people hate me all the time, right? So, like, there's nothing to lose. But the fact is that it's a 99-1. It's an extreme situation, and especially like we're talking about, like, you know, I said like pre-puberty, and this is really the logic, right? Is that so pretty much?
Wait, I need to hear the logic, but I need to. I'm not saying that I'm against what he's saying, because it's a case by case basis. It's a case by case basis. You can't say that it's the parents' fault. You can't, because some kids are just born differently. Some kids are. It's as simple as that. Like, and parents really, really try to change their children sometimes. And sometimes, you know, parents are horrible to their kids that might be different, because people are weird, man. People are weird. Some people are, you know what I mean? Some adults shouldn't have kids. And some people, they put ideologies onto children. And that's the very, very minute percentage, like, and they don't make up the majority, and never think they make up the majority, because it's not true. And I think the problem is that people magnify the minority too much. And having a child who is transgender, or having a child that is having gender dysmorphia, are struggling with their identity in their gender, assigned gender, it's not common. But I think because of the internet in 2025, because the word transgender is such a big word in the internet right now, that kids hear these words and they think that this is how they feel, and then sometimes parents run along with it. That's the problem, I think, as well. I think it's a case-by-case basis, and that's the thing with these things. And you can't paint everyone with the same brush. But let's see what Asmon had to say, because I need to know what he was saying.
Is because it doesn't exist, because you're pre-puberty and
it doesn't have anything to do with puberty. It's the gender role has nothing to do with puberty. It has simply to do with this is how you recognize, and because you've been told your whole life what a boy is supposed to do and what a girl is supposed to do. And a girl is supposed to like pink, and a girl is supposed to like ballet, and a girl is supposed to like playing with dolls, and a boy is supposed to like skateboarding, and a boy is supposed to like soccer, and a boy is supposed to like, you know, hanging out with boys and roughhousing. That's what they think. And if they don't like things within those certain areas that the gender norms have been given to them, that's where they get confused pre-puberty.
You haven't even, you know, gone through any sort of like sexual development at all. How could
it's got nothing to do with sexual development yet. When it becomes a really big problem is when children reach puberty, because if they've already been struggling with the boy-girl gender role ideology from society, when they hit puberty, and I talk about this a lot with you guys, what really becomes a crisis for these children is, and it's really sad, is when they start, if they're a girl, for example, and they start growing facial hair, or they start growing body hair on their chest or on their arms, really dark, or on their legs, and then they start to go into crisis and spiral because they recognize their whole life with the female gender role and the girl roles, and now they're being forced to go through puberty as a guy. And that's where the crisis begins. But before that, it's just confusion, I think.
Could you know that you don't have, how could you know that this is not correlated to what you want? Well, guess what? The reason why is because you have an adult whispering in your ear telling.
It's got nothing to do with adults. I just genuinely think that he needs to sit down and talk with someone who specializes in these situations. It could be good. It could genuinely be good.
When it's not. And that's really the reason. Trans is not the same as attraction. No, but in order to understand gender roles, you have to understand what gender is. And do kids understand that? No,
yeah.
They don't. So how could they?
They do understand that. They do understand that. My 4-year-old sister, she always laughs about stuff like that. She's always like, you know, oh, I like playing soccer and I'm a girl. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. It's great that you love playing soccer, because it's always that boys play soccer. That's how it is. Of course, kids know what gender roles are. They just don't know what the term gender roles is. They do know what it is, though. Like, how many people here have a 4-year-old that knows what I'm talking about? They get taught about it every day in school. Like, people try to stop talking about it because they don't like assuming gender roles and saying that, like, you know, girls should be nurses and boys should be doctors and boys should be firemen and women and girls should be teachers. People don't like to put gender roles on jobs anymore. But she says so many times, I like pink because I'm a girl. And she even asked me once, is it okay if I like blue? And I was like, yeah, why? And she's like, because it's a boy's color. And I was like, no, it's not. Blue is a lovely color. Loads of people like blue.
They understand that they're not a gender if they don't even have a full understanding on what gender is. How does that work? Oh, wait a minute. I know how it works. It's because they're getting fed weird shit by adults. That's the reason why. That's how it is. Most adults anymore. Yeah, you seen the Fleek video? I'm going to watch it later on. I haven't gotten around to it.
I was 3 in 98.
Don't worry about it. Leave the kids alone. I know. It's crazy. It's almost like people who want to groom kids will try to put themselves around kids. It almost is. I can't listen to anymore. I'm sorry. I stand by what I say. I don't think that it's malicious. I just think that he just doesn't understand because he never had that situation happen to him. And a lot of people are like that. Unless you've had the situation happen to you, you're not going to understand the situation. And that happens all the time. Yeah, he's jumping to conclusions that are not in any way researched by him.